Hey everyone, welcome back. Another segment, Mac and me coming at you, the MCR. Okay, in this segment, we're going to talk about this China balloon. Everyone else is, so we would be remiss not to throw in our 2 cents. But hey, Mac, but I got to tell you, when I first heard about this, you know what came to my mind?
No.
99 red balloons.
One of them got away and this one turned white.
And you know what? That song came out in 1983. I was in Germany at the time, and of course, it first came out in German. But that song was in protest to the Cold War. So perhaps we need a song to protest this balloon. I don't know.
I'm waiting for certain people to say that because it was a white balloon that it was racist.
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, and I was able to find it, and we'd like to post it here in this video here. Two maps that depict its path, the path that it took. The maps come from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Okay, and when this balloon took off, it went west out of China. It looks like it crossed over Japan, if I read the map correctly. I find it interesting that they didn't dare go through Russian space. Okay.
Oh
So
no.
once it went west over Japan, then it went north, and it went up through Alaska. It
Right.
went north and then came down through Alaska, came down through Canada. And I find interesting that as it went through Alaska and Canada, to my knowledge, it wasn't until it entered into Montana that all of a sudden people were like, "Hey man, what's this balloon doing up here?" You know?
Yeah.
And this balloon this balloon was traveling at about 60 to 65,000 feet. That was the
Right.
altitude that this balloon was traveling.
A little
It
bit
was
more than 10 miles up.
Yeah, and they said, well, one of the reasons why they didn't shoot it down was because it was above air traffic, and I guess some of the air traffic commercial jets saw it and reported it and said, "Hey, man, there's a big balloon flying around up here,"
Yeah.
But
Well, I had heard one of the reasons this was a rumor, of course, speculation completely, since it's now been proven not to be the case. But well, not a lot, but some people were worried that it may contain a nuke of some sort, and that's why they were hesitant to shoot it down over American airspace.
it seems pretty certain that its path brought it in close proximity to more than one ICBM sites of ours.
Yeah.
So that's the gut reaction suspicion right off the bat. Plus, there's reports of China buying up real estate near strategic military bases across the country.
Right.
And when they buy up this property, they either build communication towers with cameras or something. So this is part of their big plan in observing us.
Well, it seems to me it's a clear act of aggression. They knew Biden wouldn't do anything. My first look, if we had a legitimate government, the first look would be into Hunter Biden's bank account to see if it got a bump. Recently.
Oh, for sure. And I did hear about a second balloon going through Latin America.
I did as well.
That's pretty much confirmed. Also, I'll tell you what. If we had a stronger president, it'd make my day if they went down there and shot that thing down. Get out of our hemisphere.
Yeah, it isn't just a matter of our airspace. It's you're in our hemisphere.
Yeah.
These are notorious, insidious people. The Chinese communists. Make no mistake about that.
And like I've already mentioned, they didn't dare send it through Russian airspace. Oh no, didn't want to violate that.
Oh no, hell no.
No. The report I read was an F-22 shot it down with a Sidewinder. And you know what became the next concern after they shot it down?
Oh, I could guess. It was going to harm the aquarian life.
No. They shot it down about 6 miles off the South Carolina coast and was worried that China was going to get to it before we could. You know, you talk about ineptitude, just just total dysfunction. And I
Well,
guess
it's
what
they've made no bones about the fact that they want to dominate the entire world with their communist beliefs.
I
And
mean,
I think this might just be a test, just putting the toe in the water, see what we can get away with. And then the next thing is a little more aggressive and a little more aggressive until they do something like, well, first off, if we don't do anything about them floating a balloon across our country, how much are we going to stand up for Taiwan?
oh yeah, big time. Uh, and the thing about them shooting this thing down 6 miles off our coast, I guess one of the problems was they wanted to get a proper salvage vessel there, but I guess to beat the Chinese, and I'm theorizing here a little bit, they did dispatch a Navy and a Coast Guard vessel to secure where it crashed, the site it crashed
Yeah.
to where it crashed into, probably just to keep the Chinese at bay until they could get a salvage vessel there. But I guess once the thing splashed, the race was on between us and China to get to the thing. And they were like worried, is China even going to get to this thing before we do? And you know what? Doesn't that just figure? And you know what? I wasn't surprised to read it,
Well,
you
six
know?
miles out, they could be there, certainly.
And I think 6 miles out, isn't that international waters too, by the way? Or,
Three,
or is it
three,
is
three
it five or
miles, as I
10?
understand it.
What's that?
As I understand it, 3 miles out makes it international water.
Well, because I was thinking five, but 3, 5. I wasn't sure if it was 5 or 10. So it very well could have been in international waters, you
Yeah.
know. So, anyways, once again, you know what? I'm going to one of my theories here. I think the Democrats behind closed doors said, hey, we got to do something or we are going to be complete buffoons to the American people. And I just think they realized that they couldn't even afford that.
Well,
You
this
know,
one clearly didn't have a nuke, but maybe the next one will.
it just buffoonery. The whole
And if
thing.
there was a nuke detonated at that height, it would cause an EMP, which would wipe out anything electronic. The U.S. Senate did a study in 2003, I want to say it was. I read it years ago, and it talked about how 2/3 of the country would die within 3 months due to no water, no food. And those of us who live here in Antarctica, we'll freeze to death.
Well, one of the arguments I heard was one of the reasons why they didn't do anything was because the satellites in orbit have it. They're so advanced technologically that they can gather as much information as this balloon could have. What and if and I know if's a big two-letter word, if that were true, then maybe this was sent to see. Well, let's see what they do about this.
Well, I happened to
You
see
know,
John. I happened to catch a video of John Brennan on CNN, and he says to the contrary. He says that low, you do get better information,
uh,
even though satellites do a pretty good job.
uh, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin made a statement, but
Total ass
thanking
clown he is.
thanking Canada to in regards to assisting in the tracking and analysis of this balloon, blah blah blah.
Yeah, they just let it go through their country
No,
to our country without
uh,
saying a word, right?
just talking about how important it was to protect the American people, and when I read that statement,
Please.
that gagged me, as I like to say, that gagged me with a splintered wooden soup spoon.
Yeah,
Just
you need to retire that. That's like from 1982, I think.
well, it's apropos. All
The
right,
80s called. They want that saying back.
okay, that's all we got for this one, unless you got anything else.
Nope, that's about it.
Just the latest example of
Weakness.
how inept. That's I just and people are going to keep voting for these goofballs, and
Yep.
that frustrates me. You're going to take these goofballs and keep them in power. So okay, that's it. I could rant on that. I'll spare y'all. All right. As always, be safe. Watch your six. and don't tread on me.